Has someone you love started changing in subtle ways that you can't quite explain? Maybe they've lost interest in things they used to enjoy, or they seem more tired, quieter, or distant than before. Many families assume these are just part of getting older, but sometimes they're not. Here at Golden Minds, we believe that understanding what's really happening can bring more peace than fear. The truth is, the body often gives gentle warnings when it's approaching its final chapter. Not dramatic, not obvious. Just small shifts that most people overlook until it's too late. And then, in hindsight, they realize the signs were there all along. That's why today's video is so important. We're going to talk about 5 quiet but powerful signs that someone may be in the final year of life. Some may surprise you, some may already sound familiar, but all of them matter. When you know what to look for, you can respond with love instead of panic. You can stop pushing for more and start focusing on what matters most: comfort, connection, and peace. And you'll be better prepared to walk this journey with clarity, dignity, and grace. So if someone you care about has started changing, stay with me. What you'll learn today could help you make their time, and yours, more meaningful than ever. Let's begin. Let's begin with one of the most common and overlooked signs that someone may be entering their final chapter: a deep, persistent loss of energy. And I'm not talking about the kind of tiredness we all feel after a long day. This is different. It's a whole body fatigue that rest doesn't fix. You might notice your loved ones sleeping longer than usual, dozing off in the middle of the day, or needing help just to get out of bed. Things they once did effortlessly, like making tea, walking to the mailbox, or even sitting upright for long conversations, suddenly feel too demanding. It's not laziness. It's the body quietly saying, "I don't have much left." Let me tell you about Walter, a kind, soft-spoken grandfather from Missouri. His daughter, Emily, noticed he began canceling Sunday lunches, something he used to look forward to all week. When she asked why, he said he was just a little worn out. But over the next few months, Walter stopped gardening, left half-finished puzzles on the table, and began falling asleep during his favorite baseball games. It wasn't until he needed help buttoning his shirt that Emily realized this wasn't ordinary aging. It was his body slowing down, preparing for something deeper. Medically, this kind of exhaustion happens because the heart isn't pumping as strongly, muscles aren't receiving as much oxygen, and the body starts conserving energy for essential functions only. Think of it like a battery in low-power mode. The system is preserving what little it has left. Emotionally, this shift can be just as painful. Many seniors who've been active and independent feel embarrassed when they can't keep up. They may withdraw, not because they don't care, but because they don't want to burden anyone. Families sometimes mistake this for depression or disinterest, but often it's just profound fatigue, a natural part of the body winding down. So what can you do? First, don't push them to keep going or stay active. That can backfire and cause frustration or even falls. Instead, create a rhythm that respects their energy. Let them rest when needed. Make the most of their alert moments, whether that's a smile, a short story, or simply holding their hand. If they enjoy company, sit with them quietly. Sometimes just being there is more powerful than words. Other times, they might want silence, and that's okay too. Give them room to feel safe, seen, and not pressured to perform. The more you honor their changing pace, the more peaceful their days become. It's not about what they can do anymore. It's about how they feel, moment by moment. And in those quiet, unhurried hours, you'll discover something beautiful. Love doesn't need energy to be felt. It just needs presence. Let's move on to the next sign. As we talked about energy fading, there's something else that often follows, or sometimes even comes first. It's not always physical. Sometimes it shows up quietly in the way someone starts letting go of the world around them. This next sign is a gradual loss of interest in life and daily routines, a shift that's often misunderstood, but deeply meaningful. You might notice they stop reading the morning paper or watching their favorite shows. Meals they used to enjoy are now eaten in silence or skipped altogether. Birthdays, family events, even holidays, they begin to mean less. It's not that they don't care anymore. It's that their connection to daily life begins to loosen. Let me tell you about Linda, a cheerful woman in her 70s who once ran the best bake sales in her Michigan town. Her daughter Grace started noticing something small at first. Linda wasn't baking as often. Then her recipe book stayed closed. Her garden sat untended. And one morning she left her hair rollers in, saying, "What's the point? No one's coming over." Grace felt something inside her twist. The sparkle that once lit up Linda's days was dimming. This isn't just a sign of sadness. It's often the body and mind beginning to retreat. A gentle emotional detachment that happens when a person senses their time may be drawing to a close. The brain, as it slows down, naturally begins to tune out stimulation that once brought joy. Things that once anchored a person's identity, hobbies, social roles, routines, start to fall away. Some families mistake this for depression, and sometimes depression does play a role, but often it's a natural part of the final phase of life. It's not something to fix, but rather something to understand and honor. So what can we do when a loved one starts withdrawing? The first step is to let go of expectations. Instead of trying to bring them back to who they were, try to meet them where they are now. Maybe they won't want to decorate for the holidays, but they might enjoy sitting with you while you do it. Maybe they won't want to read aloud, but they may still like hearing your voice. Keep their space familiar. Soft lighting, favorite music, gentle scents. These things may not reawaken old routines, but they provide quiet comfort. Sometimes just being there beside them, no pressure, no demands, says more than any activity ever could. This stage can be hard to witness, especially when you remember how vibrant and involved they once were. But letting go of routines isn't always a sign of giving up. Often it's a tender signal that they're turning inward, finding peace in simplicity, and preparing in their own way. And when you respect that shift, you give them the greatest gift of all, the freedom to rest without guilt and the warmth of knowing they are loved without conditions. Let's move gently into the next sign. As someone starts stepping back from daily routines, another quiet but powerful shift may begin to show, not in what they say, but in how their body starts to change. One of the most visible and often overlooked signs that a person may be in their final year is significant and unintentional weight loss. It doesn't happen overnight. At first, you may just notice that their clothes hang a little looser, or they suddenly need a smaller belt notch. Maybe their wedding ring slips more easily, or the outline of their collarbone becomes more visible. Families often brush it off, thinking it's just aging or a smaller appetite. But more often than not, it's a message from the body, a quiet one, that something deeper is going on. Take the story of Robert, an 84-year-old retired electrician from Pennsylvania. His granddaughter, Nina, started noticing he wasn't finishing his meals. At first, she thought maybe he just didn't like the food. She bought him his favorites: roast chicken, banana pudding, even his old go-to, peanut butter toast. But his portions kept shrinking. Over 6 months, he lost nearly 20 pounds without trying. His arms looked thinner, his voice softer, and even sitting upright seemed more tiring. Nina realized this wasn't just about eating less. His body was slowly letting go. What many people don't know is that in the later stages of life, the body starts absorbing fewer nutrients, even if the person is eating. Metabolism slows, digestion becomes less efficient, and in many cases, the sense of hunger fades entirely. Food no longer smells the same. It doesn't taste the same. The drive to eat, once essential for survival, begins to disappear. Muscle loss also plays a big role. As the body breaks down muscle tissue for energy, the person may lose strength quickly. This doesn't just affect appearance. It raises the risk of falls, weakens the immune system, and makes even small infections more dangerous. Sometimes the cause is an underlying illness like cancer, kidney disease, or heart failure, conditions that can silently progress before showing obvious symptoms. But even in the absence of a specific diagnosis, unintentional weight loss is a signal worth listening to. Families often feel helpless during this stage. They try everything: richer meals, protein shakes, high-calorie snacks, hoping to reverse the trend. But when the weight keeps dropping, it's important to understand this isn't about fixing appetite. It's about shifting focus. Instead of stressing over how much they eat, focus on comfort, Offer small, easy-to-swallow portions. Prioritize hydration. Sit with them while they eat. Let meals be peaceful, not pressured. And above all, don't tie their worth to what's on their plate. Weight loss in the final year is not just physical, it's symbolic. It marks the body's natural transition, and your love, presence, and gentle care matter far more than any extra calories ever could. Let's now move to the next sign, one that speaks more to the heart than the body. As we've seen, the body speaks in quiet ways, through fatigue, through weight loss, through stepping back from routines. But there's another shift that can catch families off guard, not in the body, but in the heart and mind. That's why the next sign is sudden changes in personality or mood. These emotional changes can be subtle at first, and because they don't always show up physically, they're often misunderstood. A once cheerful person may seem more irritable or withdrawn. Someone who was always easygoing might now seem easily frustrated or overly sensitive. Or just the opposite. They may suddenly appear unusually calm, detached, or even peaceful, like they've let something go inside. This happened with Carol, a retired school teacher from Ohio. Her son David noticed she started giving away keepsakes, old photographs, her mother's necklace, books from her childhood. She'd sit in her favorite chair and stare out the window, quiet for hours. At first, David worried she was depressed, but when he gently asked her about it, she simply smiled and said, "I've been doing a lot of remembering." For many people, this emotional shift is part of a deeper process. As the body slows down, the brain begins to change too. Circulation to the brain may decrease, affecting how thoughts and feelings are processed. Hormonal shifts, oxygen levels, and even subtle chemical changes in the brain all play a role. But just as importantly, many seniors begin to emotionally prepare for the end, whether they say it aloud or not. You may hear them reflect more on the past. They might bring up regrets, share memories you've never heard before, or speak more openly about fears, forgiveness, or faith. Others might withdraw, choosing silence over conversation. It's not that they don't care, it's that their inner world is changing. Their focus turns inward, and what once seemed urgent no longer matters. This is also a time when emotions can swing unexpectedly. One day they may be talkative and warm, the next quiet and moody. It can feel confusing for loved ones, especially when you're trying your best to be present and supportive. So how do you respond? With patience and presence. Try not to correct or fix their emotions. Instead, listen without judgment. Create space for stories if they want to talk, or offer silent companionship if they don't. Avoid saying things like, "Don't talk like that," or "You're not going anywhere." These words, while well-meaning, can feel dismissive. Sometimes just a gentle hand on theirs and the words "I'm here" are more powerful than anything else. When personality begins to shift, it's not always a sign of mental illness or cognitive decline. Often, it's the mind beginning to let go in the same way the body has started to. And as hard as it is to witness these changes, know this: they are not drifting away from love. They are drifting toward peace. Let's move gently now to the final sign. As we continue this tender journey through the quiet signs of life winding down, there's one more signal the body often gives, one that speaks softly but with deep significance. It comes in the form of noticeable changes in breathing and circulation. These changes are sometimes the hardest to witness because they're so physical, so visible, but they're also among the clearest signs that the body is preparing for its final phase. And knowing what's happening can bring calm instead of fear. Let me share the story of Harold, a former firefighter from North Carolina. In his final months, his daughter Mia noticed he was breathing differently. Sometimes he'd breathe very slowly, other times in short, quick bursts. One night, while reading to him, she realized he was pausing between breaths, long, quiet moments that made her hold her own breath, waiting. His hands often felt cold, even when the room was warm. And over time, the pink tone in his fingers and lips gave way to a pale bluish hue. What Mia was seeing wasn't unusual. It was the body's natural shift. As the heart weakens, it starts prioritizing blood flow to the organs that need it most, like the brain and lungs. As a result, circulation to the hands, feet, and skin slows down. That's why you may notice extremities becoming cool to the touch, or the skin developing a mottled or bluish tint, especially around the toes and fingertips. Breathing too starts to change. The lungs may not fill as deeply. Shortness of breath can occur with the smallest movements, sitting up, speaking, or even adjusting in bed. Some people breathe through their mouth more often or seem to struggle for air while lying flat. In later stages, a breathing pattern known as Cheney-Stokes may appear, where deep breaths alternate with long pauses. While it can be distressing to watch, these changes don't always mean pain or suffering. Often they're just signs that the body is slowing in a very natural way. The body is conserving energy, doing what it needs to find balance as it prepares to let go. So what can you do in this moment? First, stay calm. Your presence matters more than any medical fix. Keep the room cool and quiet. A small fan or humidifier can help ease the feeling of breathlessness. Offer sips of water, keep their head elevated with pillows, and speak softly, reassuring them that they're safe. If your loved one is receiving hospice care, ask about medications that can ease labored breathing. But often, the most healing thing is simply your steady presence. Being with them, not rushing, not fixing, just being. When breathing slows, when circulation fades, when silence fills the room more than words ever could, that's when your love becomes their anchor. In these final moments, it's not about how much time is left, it's about how gently that time is held. Let's now move into a moment of reflection as we bring all of this together. We've walked together through 5 quiet but powerful signs that someone may be nearing the final stage of life. Profound fatigue, a loss of interest in daily routines, unintentional weight loss, emotional or personality changes, and shifts in breathing and circulation. None of these signs are meant to cause fear. Instead, they're meant to help you see the journey more clearly, to notice what the body is gently saying, and to respond not with panic, but with love and calm understanding. The truth is, the final year of life often doesn't come with alarms or drama. It arrives in small ways: a slower step, a quieter voice, a skipped meal, a longer nap. And while these changes can be heartbreaking, they also offer a sacred opportunity, the chance to slow down, to be fully present, and to make every remaining moment count. You don't need to fix what's happening. You don't have to have all the answers. What your loved one needs most now is simple: your presence, your patience, and your peace. Just being there, holding their hand, listening to their stories, that's what brings dignity to the final chapter. And if you're going through this journey right now, please know this: you are not alone. Many families have walked this path, and your heart, your effort, matters more than you realize. If this video brought you comfort or insight, leave a comment below, share your story, and if you haven't already, subscribe to Golden Minds for more support, guidance, and gentle strength through life's most tender moments. You're doing better than you think, and you are deeply appreciated.